2015 was a very, very challenging, but also extremely successful year. When I look at my list, I think of things like overcoming our hiring crisis, improving our safety office, navigating one of the driest summers in years, and completing several huge construction projects that bolstered our transmission and generation assets and reliability. Just huge accomplishments, and I really want to thank all of you for a tremendous year. We have much to be proud of, including our greatest asset, a workforce of nearly 5,000 people who bring enthusiasm and energy to work every day and who ensure Bonneville delivers on its mission while bringing value to the Pacific Northwest. The safety of our workforce is my top priority, and in the last year we've worked hard on developing a healthier safety culture. We developed a new structure for safety committees to focus on resolving office and field-related safety concerns. The Safety Office merged with Occupational Health, and we achieved our goal of giving the Safety Office more resources. The safety team now includes 6 new safety professionals. We also held the 2015 Stand Up for Safety event, which was a huge success. While we faced a large wave of retirements, we ended up the year with more employees than we started with, giving our workforce much needed reinforcements. And having signed all the retirement slips, I can tell you this was no small accomplishment. I believe fiscal year 2015 has been a turning point for this agency. I can tell you that when I meet with members of the congressional delegation, our customers, our stakeholders, and other partners, there's just a huge appreciation for the work that you've done and the tremendous accomplishments of 2015. And I'm looking forward to a great year in 2016. Thanks very much.
Our investments take 2 different tracks. One is sustaining what we have, and the other is expanding to our existing infrastructure. Expanding certainly meets the needs of growth, answers the call for more renewables being injected to our system. It also allows us to serve outside the region at the same time. In the area of sustaining what we have, over half of our 15,000-mile transmission grid is over 50 years old. It requires maintenance, it requires analysis and smart planning, it requires investment. So the Grand Coulee Third Powerhouse project is one of the most important projects at BPA. It's over 4,200 megawatts of generation from its 6 units. Its location within the system and its critical output provides BPA flexibility and dispatch options, and today we're taking care of one of the most important assets in our system. The Big Eddy Night project, it's a 28-mile, 500 kV transmission line that's going to connect our transmission paths between Oregon and Washington. It's going to allow us to integrate some pretty important renewables into our system. That project required a huge amount of teamwork. It involved numerous government agencies, tribal entities, private landowners, all sorts of stakeholders that we needed to listen to, respond to, and collaborate with. Internally, it touched just about every part of BPA's operation, and it's been done with care and concern, and at the end of the year, it'll be energized successfully. The Celilo converter station and DC line upgrade allows us to provide the benefits of hydro, wind, and solar from the Pacific Northwest directly to load centers, particularly in California, where it can be distributed further. It's a great project in that it's using an existing asset and upgrading it. It's taking existing transmission and right-of-way, upgrading it. It's taking an existing station and bringing it up to latest technology. It's a win-win project for BPA and frankly the entire West Coast electric grid. The Monroe Scheduling Center allows us the duplication and redundancy of so many parts of our operations. It adds space for our scheduling folks. It provides a 150-person backup facility for emergency response. It really provides the business continuity needs of an important entity such as BPA within the Pacific Northwest. I am just extremely proud of our transmission business line. We have improved our plans, we have executed our processes, we've constructed, we've maintained, we've operated reliably and compliantly throughout the course of the entire fiscal year 2015. But the area I would focus on mostly is safety. Transmission this year has done a phenomenal job towards improving our safety culture and our safety initiatives to keep every one of our folks safe. So at the end of the day, transmission delivered on so many fronts of operational excellence, but the most valuable one to me is the safety value.
We ended BPA's 78th fiscal year in 2015. We exceeded our net revenue targets this year, our cost management targets. We met our bond rating expectations. We had very strong financial results. We drew water out of the Canadian reservoirs, and we also worked with our partners to manage the federal hydro system in a way that would meet all of our power obligations and our fish obligations, and that contributed to our ability to exceed our financial targets in a very dry year. We spend nearly $1 billion a year in capital, primarily in the transmission system, in the hydro system. We also spend quite a bit of money in fish and wildlife, information technology investments, facilities investments, security investments. This ongoing, very, very large capital program is something that we continue to try to manage and make sure that we're making the right investments at the right time. IPR2 is something that we do in the middle of a rate case that allows us to consider resetting some cost estimates that we set in the original integrated program review. This year we had an IPR2 because the customers really wanted us to take a look at expensing energy efficiency. Up until the end of 2015, we capitalized our energy efficiency program, which means that we borrowed money to pay for that cost, and then we paid that back over time. And expensing energy efficiency ends up saving almost $1.3 billion in debt over the course of the next 13 years. The IPR2 decision then folds into our final rate proposal, and it's one of the most difficult balancing acts we have to perform at Bonneville. We take all of our inputs and put them all together, and we try to find the rate that recovers all of our costs and at the lowest cost as required by statute. This year we actually were able to lower rates from what our original estimates were, and I'm quite proud that we were able to find some offsetting reductions and be able to come in with a much more reasonable level of rate increase for both transmission and power rates.
We were very fortunate that the Bonneville transmission system made it through the fire season without a significant number of direct impacts. But many of our wholesale preference customers were dramatically affected in their local service territories. Although it was a real proud moment for all of Bonneville to see our transmission crews move into the local communities and provide the support and the helping hand. I talked to a number of leaders in the public power community, and they so much appreciated the role that Bonneville took, helping them deal, with the tragic consequences of these fires. Reliable, flexible, and efficient operations, that theme goes to the core of what we do at Bonneville. We're here to deliver low-cost, reliable, adequate power to our customers in the Pacific Northwest, and there's nothing more important. 2015 was also an important year because we created the Asset Investment Excellence Initiative. Making the investments translates directly to the reliability of our supply to our customers, and we're creating new, long-term, comprehensive plans for the hydro system so that we can continue to demonstrate that we are making the right investments at the right time, and that we are spending our ratepayer dollars in the most effective and efficient ways. I'm really thrilled that we met our energy efficiency targets
Before the end of the rate period, we achieved 117 average megawatts of energy efficiency that we committed to deliver to the region during that period. We have a legacy in partnership with our customers of delivering energy efficiency. Energy efficiency is the resource that allows us to stretch the capability of the federal hydro system. And we believe that energy efficiency will continue to be the #1 choice of the region for serving growing needs. Our demand response team has completed and are continuing a number of pilots that are demonstrating that demand response can be used to reduce peaks on both the generation and transmission system. That demand response is capable of mitigating transmission constraints. And that demand response is a potential supply for balancing reserves, where we've historically relied on generating resources for that purpose. We need to demonstrate that demand response can be counted on, and we've made a great deal of progress in demonstrating the capability of demand response to deliver a number of value streams for the region, for Bonneville, for our customers. During this time of significant change where the Pacific Northwest has been exploring new markets and new pooling opportunities, our team at Bonneville has stepped up, and they have found the time to work on new creative designs for the marketplace. And although we've yet to get to the finish line, we've taken incremental steps towards creating a future world that will improve our ability to use our resources in the most effective way. And I believe we will ultimately look back and say this was a worthwhile and promising effort.
For the third year in a row, we had fabulous salmon runs returning to Bonneville Dam. Chinook salmon runs over 1.2 million fish. And that was exciting because though ocean conditions play a part, it's a testament to our really hard work on improving dam passage and improving habitat. Bad news is that while it was supposed to be a banner year for sockeye salmon as well, the low flows and the warm river temperatures impeded the sockeye as they moved up the river, and kind of heartbreaking to those of us who have put so much time into it. On dam passage, we're on track to hit performance standards of 93 to 96% survival at each dam. And for habitat, we did dozens of projects this year, and we're on track with thousands of acres of estuary and tributary habitat protected and restored. In terms of pollution management, we exceeded our targets this year. We upgraded stormwater systems, replaced old oil tanks, replaced 50 pieces of PCB equipment, and did many other things, all designed to keep land and water pure as part of our environmental stewardship. We had some really great accomplishments this year when it comes to cultural resource protection. After years of working with the Yakama Nation, we were able to work out a final resolution of the cultural resource issues at the river crossing for Big Eddy Night. Another great accomplishment that was years in the making is restoration of rock petroglyphs that were moved when the dams were built, and now they're installed in Columbia Hills State Park on the banks of the Columbia River in Washington, and I encourage everyone to go see them. It's really cool. In the never-ending saga of the biological opinion litigation, we had another round this year. And Department of Justice and our crack legal team and our partners went into court in front of Judge Simon and once again argued in favor of the all-H plan. Just to present our case took a lot of work for many components of BPA: legal, Fish and Wildlife, communications, intergovernmental affairs, working with all our federal, state, and tribal partners. Sometimes we emphasize our external partners a lot, but our internal partners are really essential to get the work done as well. In EF&W, we have the nation's largest fish and wildlife program, and we have what we believe is the nation's largest cultural resource program. We run a beyond state-of-the-art pollution prevention program, and we complete almost as many environmental documents in a year as all the rest of DOE combined. So The challenges that we face and what I'm proud of are two sides of the same coin. With a relatively small staff, we have accomplished all our goals and gotten them done this year.
I think it was an outstanding year for us as an agency. We were able to hire over 400 people. I believe the high water mark previously was around 300. So for us to be able to go out and hire over 400 people, that was really gratifying for us as an organization. But through all of that effort, we only netted about 25 people. So that means that people are retiring, which we want to honor, but at the same time, we want to make sure that we're working to retain people and we're building our workforce. An important aspect of the job we were able to do in hiring was the speed at which we were able to bring people on board. At the beginning of the year, Brian Carter and his team set a goal of 120 days, and they were able to exceed that. We were able to get people on board roughly around 108 days. Employee engagement was a tale of two stories. One was a really great story in the fact that we improved participation in our Gallup survey, but the other piece was that we didn't see a great improvement in the all-around scores, which was a little disappointing. However, it's an opportunity. We're going to be working on really honing in on what we expect of our employees. We're going to start with training our management team to be able to have that conversation, and we're going to work on our leadership behaviors. And hopefully that's going to translate to better communication and a more engaged workforce. The Our People theme really resonates with us as an organization. Whether you're keeping them safe, whether you're keeping them secure, processing the things that they need to do their job, making sure they get the equipment on site, as well as just maintaining their work environment. Those are all things that are important to our folks. And we'll be adding the diversity inclusion group to the CA organization. And that's going to be just as important to maintaining a great environment for our people.
My goal at BPA is to establish a safe, positive, and inclusive work environment where highly engaged employees are able to effectively deliver on our mission. I look forward to continuing our progress in fiscal year 2016.